Okay, so hello to everyone that's been supporting us and being part of this journey. This is actually day 2 now of our sabbatical. And if you are joining in for the first time, I and my family, who's not here right now, but I'm going to get to that in a moment, so just hold on. But I and my family are on a 3-month sabbatical, graciously given to us and blessed us by our church, Arthur Baptist Church. And on this sabbatical, our idea for it was to drive to Alaska with our camper. And so that was always a dream of mine. She's not here, but I'm just going to say I think Lana's too, my wife, because she loves adventures. And so we had this idea to go all the way, or drive all the way to Alaska with our camper and our 3 kids. And then that also, with that, our church has for a long time supported a mission on Kodiak Island in Alaska, so Kodiak Baptist Mission. And so we were like, well, we're going up there for our sabbatical. Why don't we go and actually check out this mission and see what they do, and see how we can strengthen ties and support them more in the future. So multi-pronged thing. But I know many of you that are wanting an update already and just following along with us. As I said, this is day 2. We were planning on doing an update on day 1. And honestly, everything went really well. If we could have, we would have left even a day sooner, but it was probably a good thing because of all the storms and stuff. So shout out to Carrie and Krusty, because they graciously made room for our camper and Arthur in their feed store so that we could store it so that the storm wouldn't ruin it before we left. So anyway, so we were already delayed, kind of, because of weather. And then we got up early, everything went well, and started making our way west. And then out of nowhere, didn't really see this on the weather report, but ran into a pretty good storm, coupled with 40-mile-an-hour winds that we were driving straight into. And so somewhere along the way, between leaving Nebraska and going into Wyoming, our truck decided it was done. Now, what I say with that, though, is that it did safely get us to our first campsite in Glen Rock, Wyoming. But it was very clear, very, very quick to me and Lana that the truck was done. So that's only day 1. So we got there early and we looked at each other and we're like, you know what? Let's just, oops, it's still a little bumpy. Let's just go ahead and take a look at what Casper has. Now, we had no idea what was in Casper. Both of us really, I don't think either of us has been in Casper. So that was, it's actually quite a nice little city. Needless to say, we have a new truck now. But we bought an out-of-state truck. So what I'm currently doing, and why my family is not with me, because if we wanted to keep going, there is no way we were going to be able to get our truck fixed in time for us to continue to meet reservations and be where we need to be, right? So 2 options: either find a new vehicle or go back home and figure something else out. That would also probably entail friends, which I know you guys are out there, would probably have to end up coming out and saving us, which I really appreciate. I know you guys would. And taking our camper and towing our truck home and the whole 9 yards. But the thing that just kept coming up was a verse that I shared in my last sermon on Sunday that we titled Sabbatical Benediction. So like kind of my benediction message before we headed out and left or parted ways for the summer so we could both go. In that, I talked about how in scripturally going into the wilderness is characterized by testing, meeting with God, shaping, being humbled, and being prepared, right? So day one, we are headed out into the wilderness, if you will, on sabbatical, and that's where we're at. We have instantly been tested. We have been humbled. We have been shaped. And it is just also amazing what God has already done in like 24, 48 hours. So it's already been a wild ride. So if you're going to tune in with us, and I promise my camera skills are going to get better, it could be interesting. It will definitely be an adventure. If you see our little tagline, I think our name is called the Preacher's Family, Sermons and Adventures. And obviously you're getting a sermon right now, so just get ready for that. But in all of that, so already being tested, already being humbled, already being shaped. The verse that just kept coming to mind was one that I had in the sermon yesterday that really stuck with us. So again, that sermon that I preached on Sunday was just as much for us as it was everybody else there and those who listened to it too. But in Philippians 4, it talks about, I believe it's Philippians 4, 6 through 7. And I apologize, I don't have it memorized, but I should. But it says, don't be anxious about anything, but essentially pray without ceasing, and being thankful and going to God, right, with your petitions. And so that's what just kept coming up in my mind was that verse, and that's what we did. Now it could have been really easy already for the start, for us to just already start dogging on each other. It would have been easy for Lana and I in a really hard situation to either just give up or to devolve into just being mean to each other, what have you, arguing, what have you. But none of that happened. It was interesting how remembering that verse caused us to continue to look for the things to be thankful for, and to continue to look for the things that we can rejoice in, such as we are on sabbatical. We did make it to our campground safely. We had a warm place to stay, because if you saw in Wyoming the other day, especially in the Glen Rock area, it was chilly. It was a cozy night, that's for sure. So again, it just caused us to already reorient what could have been an even worse situation if we allowed both our flesh and the temptations of our sinful sides of ourselves as humans to take over, right? To just allow ourselves to get so discouraged that we just give up. And I think maybe that was either part of the test, or maybe that was part of Satan's plan. I don't know. But what I do know is that God's hands have been all over it. Even the truck itself, I don't know how many times I said this morning that it was a God moment. This was a God moment. This was a God moment. Everything. And I knew there was so many hurdles we had to jump, even to get a truck. Even the fact that I was willing to buy a new truck within 24 hours is ridiculous. Because it takes me, I'm a Wilkes, so that means you start looking at trucks and vehicles. Hey, I'm back in Nebraska, by the way. When we start looking at vehicles, we start when we're like 10 and we buy a vehicle when we're like 30. Does that make sense? It takes us forever to actually buy something big. So this is way out of my comfort zone. And had to fully rely on God and leading us, and this whole thing was absolutely bathed in prayer. Essentially we have been praying without ceasing, And it is just so cool, the opportunities and that we've had and all that. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that there wasn't moments. This morning and last night, it was really hard to sleep last night. Making a big decision of going to buy a truck, making a decision on how we're gonna figure out everything that goes along with that, right? Because there's a lot of moving parts to buying a vehicle, especially when you're going to Alaska. So, but everything just kept coming in place. But that being said, I didn't sleep last night, and even still, like every time that it kept coming up, I just kept praying, and every time that my mind wanted to go to the discouraging things, kept choosing to be thankful and listing off the things that I was thankful for. Again, going back to the Philippians passage, and choosing to rejoice things. Now, what I will say though, because that sounds like, oh yeah, you're a pastor, that's what you do. No, I had to fight for that, okay? I had to fight the discouraging thoughts. I had to fight for those things and say it with, in my mind and heart, those things, to fight my flesh, because it would have been so easy to just allow the discouraging things. That being said, it was a night of fighting. Thankfully, everybody else slept. It's amazing. Our youngest daughter is going to be 7 months. It's interesting how she sleeps so much better when she's not at home. So I guess we should just live in a camper, I guess. I don't know. Welcome to my rambling, by the way, too. Anyways, so didn't sleep last night, but now that I look back, I had a great time of just relying on God and fighting temptation and discouragement with God, right? So God was with me fighting those things. And then on top of that morning was a little rough, because again, I didn't sleep. Zoe maybe woke up. I accidentally woke Zoe up maybe too early, so she was pretty fussy. So that meant me and her going for a walk outside. We're parked near actually the North Platte River that goes through Wyoming and all that. So walked by the river and all that, and just spent some time, I guess, with my youngest, in praying out loud, because there was no one else by. And what I found too is what I really needed, because the anxiety was really trying to get me. And in that wrestling with anxiety, and if you know me, anxiety has been something of a battle for me probably most of my life. So again, I'm in that shaping. And so God's not wasting any time on the sabbatical and going into the wilderness, shaping us and growing us and changing us. So, and just realizing, man, it has been so long since I have, I guess, allowed my mind to be at rest in the Lord. And that's what my prayer was to finally just be at rest. It wasn't that the truck situation would work out, or all the different moving parts of the day would bring, but it was just to be at rest, whatever that would mean. And specifically to have shalom peace. Oh God, if you ever look, and I'll probably end up bringing up shalom more, because that's starting to become one of our words for this trip, and even before. Man, shalom peace is so much more than worldly peace, and it's just more like this fullness of God in your life and His presence, and just the peace that comes with that. And just started praying for His shalom to come. We had an amazing time this morning praying as a family, because I needed that, because again, I was in the midst of battling anxiety. And it's just amazing when you talk it through and you do pray for those things. You make your petition known to God, right? And just surrender yourself and stop trying to do it on your own power. It's amazing how He changes things. Now, I'm not saying He's changed circumstances, because there's still a lot of things that have to happen. There's still a million things that could go wrong. But it's amazing how knowing that He is with you and trusting Him does bring you peace despite your circumstances. Knowing that God is going to see you through your circumstances, knowing that He's going to see you through the storms that come, and no matter how hard the wind blows or how hard it rains or what have you. The fact of the matter is he's not always going to take those things away, because it provides an opportunity for you to trust him more. And so on the other side of the storm, it's not just the fact that you got through the storm. It's the fact that you are a changed person on the other side of the storm. You trust God even more. You learn new things about the attributes of God. So that's where I'm at. Again, like right now, I am driving back to Arthur to finish up the last few things, and then and it is amazing to you guys back in Arthur. All of you guys have reached out as soon as you found and offered either help, prayer. I felt like the town, you guys have just been amazing. You guys have really rallied, and just really am thankful for your support. We cannot thank you guys enough. So yeah, I'm gonna pop in for a minute, and then we're gonna be hopefully back on our way because of what God has done, as well as what you guys have done to support us and to keep us going on this sabbatical. So yeah, I know this is already a good long update, but welcome to the journey with us, because it's gonna be a journey, I think. So see you soon.